You know what? We got to start with the Heat, right? I got my sports with so hardwood background. Um, they have that huge upset series win over the Bucks, and heading into game one against the Knicks, it was like, well, what are he going to be able to continue this momentum? And they did, man. They actually went out there and got a huge win while I was in Brazil Sunday. I know you were watching the game here, and a lot as the rest of the Heat fans were, but the biggest takeaway for me in that game, right, is not only the continuance of Jimmy Butler being Jimmy Butler, right? It's more the fact that this dude just finds ways to perform even when he's not playing his best, or he's hurt, or he's the game's out of rhythm, whatever the case may be. When it comes to the playoffs, this dude really knows how to turn up, and he really helped he get a big victory in game one, 108-101. We actually won another fourth quarter. I think this is the third or fourth quarter that the Heat have won in these playoffs. A couple against the Bucks and now against the Knicks. I don't know, man. I was, after we beat the Bucks, I kind of felt very confident about this Knicks series, right? You
have to feel confident. Jimmy Butler puts up 97 points in the final two games of the series to close out the Bucks. 56 in that game 5. Yep. It was just absolutely unreal what he was able to do, and that's the reason we have that confidence now going forward. I didn't have it. I know I can't speak for everybody, but I didn't have that confidence in this team going into the postseason, because this season, if you followed along wherever you could, damn you Bally's, you saw a team that was very inconsistent, where it really wasn't even streaky, like good streaks or bad streak. It was just kind of like all over the place. Just really couldn't carve them out. When we needed to, certain opponents we should have dominated. Excuse me, we couldn't close out. And now we get into the postseason, and Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler, and we saw that in game 1 against the Knicks. But we also saw what we were missing in game 2. Now, credit to the boys. Hell of a game by Coach Spo and the gang. They played their hearts out there with no Jimmy Butler. And they had their full squad. I repeat, they had their full squad. Including Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, who put up 30 points on us here in game 2.
23 in the second half.
Huge, yeah. But Jimmy didn't get to play, and that's where we missed him most, was in crunch time at the end of the game. When we were, they got the lead back. It was a couple, few seconds left, not a lot of time left, and we really missed Jimmy there in that moment. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. And, the way that the game started out, you kind of felt like, all right, the team knows that this is going to have to be a team effort in order to get this victory on the road, right? To get the back-to-back victories in New York. Not an easy thing to do, right? Especially when you're facing a full Knicks squad that has their main engine, which is Brunson. He makes everything go for those Knicks in play. But he came out strong, man. You had a really good performance by Caleb Martin. He's one of the guys that have been consistent throughout this entire season for the Heat, right? We've applauded him and his efforts, mostly on the defensive side, and today he put it up on the offensive side as well.
Yeah, he took a mean spill into the Knicks bench area. Yeah, man, and he was kind of holding his back and stuff, so hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, Strus too. He had a back injury and he stepped out in the third quarter, came back. But in the first quarter, both teams hit a lot of threes, and I kind of felt like that was going to be the rest of the story for the game, and it kind of was, right? Because even as we got into the second quarter, there was a lot of good rebounding, but Barrett was hitting threes, Randall was hitting threes. He got fouled on a 3-point attempt. You know what I mean? Like the game plan for both of these teams, weirdly enough, was to shoot more threes, right? And we know that the Knicks struggled shooting threes in game 1. Brunson was 0 for 7, I think. RJ Barrett was like 0 for 5. So you knew that they were going to come out and shoot a little bit better. But even with all that, right, with the Knicks hitting the 3-ball and getting 19 from Barrett in the half, and Randall putting up 16 in the half, they still controlled the game. They were up 54-51. like I said, it was a team effort in that first half. We only had one guy in double figures, which was Caleb Martin. He had, like, I believe 11 or 12 at the half. And the Heat shot better from 3-point line. So it was kind of leading in the direction that the Heat wanted it to go to. And even in the third quarter, you know, the Heat end the third quarter in the 77-76, but they didn't attack the free throw line, right? They had their big men in trouble, Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein. Both of those guys had foul trouble in the second half, and I felt like we didn't go at them enough, right? And you can tell in the amount of free throw shots that they had versus what we had in the game. It kind of just, I don't want to say it gave them extra points. It obviously did, but when you only shoot 17 free throws and they shoot 21 of 30, you kind of gave up a lot of extra points there, which obviously kind of came up in the end as the Heat lose 111-105.
I mean, that's another reason where we miss Jimmy, you know, right there. Yeah. You just look at the free throw stat line, and it wasn't where we are normally. And Jimmy's the bulk of that. So you do that, you know, you control the game. You control the tempo of the game. You're able to slow things down and control the clock, control the game, especially down the stretch when you need to the most, you know. Yeah. And we weren't able to do that, especially with a couple, you know, bad calls there that, you know, at the end of the game.
Let's talk about that.
There was one just in particular where we got off the shot, but right before the 24 seconds, so they didn't call a violation on it. It grazed the rim, and then Gabe Vincent grabbed it and put it back up. They waved it off. Yep. They said it was an air ball. It said it didn't hit anything, and there was no replay or anything.
No, and they didn't even let Spo challenge it. And he was.
I didn't understand that. I saw him like signaling and waving for it. I don't understand why they didn't let him do that.
And it was weird because, like, it did suck the momentum out of the team. It totally did suck the momentum out of the team because the Knicks were able to come down. Brunson hit a shot, which kind of fueled him to hit another couple of 3-pointers to get the Knicks.
There was one of those Brunson shots I didn't agree with. That it was the one on the foul that Bam kind of bulldozed his way through to try to defend on it, and they ended up letting that 3-point stand.
That one happened before the Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, you know, whole debacle, and it was such a weird call because they did take the time out to review it. You know what I mean? Like they went to look at the tape and stuff like that, and they still gave them the 3-point shot and the foul. And that shit totally shifted the momentum towards the Knicks. It got the crowd into it, you know what I'm saying? Because the crowd was pretty much out of it. And credit to the Heat for playing as hard as they did this game, really, because every time that the Knicks try to make a run or try to hit a big three or something like that, he came back and got, you know, an answer for them every single time. I do want to, you know, kind of shout out one more person who played really well today, Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent had a hell of a fourth quarter. He hit some big shots. He also forced a lot of shots towards the end of the game, right? A couple of threes. I'm guessing that was by design. But that just leads to your point where we miss Jimmy down the stretch, right? In the last 4 minutes of the game where things need to be a little bit more precise, a little bit more well executed. The Heat didn't have that today.
No, but I will agree with you, man. We got to shout out everybody, man. The whole doghouse.
Duncan.
They stepped up, even though we lost, you know, Duncan Robinson. You know, he stepped up, had a bunch of threes. You had a guy, you know, Haywood Highsmith, which a lot of people don't know. I had a lot of people asking today, like, who's this guy out there? And I was like, he's on the team. He's been on the team for a little while. He contributed. He was out there, you know, just a big body, getting some rebounds, some second chance points. Kevin Love,
Cody Zeller, good defense.
You know, Cody Zeller got a new nickname, White Big Sloppy. And you know, everybody was out there contributing, man. Everybody was out there moving, shaking. Again, I'm not upset with this, you know, loss. A loss is upsetting, obviously, but
right,
the fact that they had their entire squad at home and they just barely beat us, you know, they ended up, you know, coming from behind. We had a lead and we slipped, you know, they got away from us. We were missing our number one guy.
Yeah. And
I have no doubt in my mind, Jimmy Butler's in that game. We closed that game out. So
for sure.
Heat in five.
It's looking very, very favorable for the Heat. And you know, I gotta mention something. The Knicks ended that game on a 24-12 run. that just shows you that once they got the momentum, they were able to keep it. And our execution or poor execution down the stretch led to them getting good shots and getting to the free throw lines and offensive boards. We gotta definitely shout that out in the last 3-4 minutes of the game. That dude Hartenstein killed us on the offensive board. He had 3 offensive boards back to back to back. The Heat went small versus their big lineup because their bigs had foul trouble, and we couldn't take advantage of it, for whatever reason. But you're right. You have to feel good about this effort, right? When you if I were to tell you before the game, hey, you're gonna get 20 points from not Bam, and Kevin Love's gonna score less than 10 points. You got Caleb Martin scoring 22 points. You got Gabe Vincent with 21 points, and Bam just with 15 points. This was the game that we were hoping that he comes out a little bit more aggressive, and he did play well.
This game.
Yeah, especially this game, right? No Jimmy,
every
no
game,
hero.
dog. Every game, I'm expecting Bam, especially in the postseason more than ever. I'm expecting Bubble Bam to be back.
Yeah, and if you look at his stat line, it's not bad, right? He shot 50%, 5 of 10, made 5 free throws, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. But that point total, 15 points, I felt like he didn't do enough when he had the matchup that he could have gotten and just go for it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's because he was trying to play more team ball, right? Or if he was just being a little bit hesitant. But whatever it is, it's starting to get a little bit, not that it's starting, it is frustrating to see Bam not be that guy for us when we kind of need him to step up, right? But you know what? The Heat were playing with house money. Going up 1-0 in New York after Sunday was a huge advantage for us. Right now, we have, I think it's 3 days before the next game. Next game is on Saturday.
Man. Yeah.
Healthier Jimmy. You give time to Strus and Martin to kind of rest up and heal themselves up and go at it in game 3 at home. 3:30 tip off, but this game particularly was rough, man.
Did you say 3:30?
Yeah. It's a 3:30 start. There's 3:30 start on Saturday.
I didn't know it was that early in the day. All right, good to know.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm here for, dog.
That's what you're here for.
That's what I'm here for. But I just want to kind of emphasize that this team effort that we got was really refreshing to see, because if you insert a guy like Butler and the team gives you this type of effort, right, where all these guys are passing the ball, that's one thing that I noticed today. The ball movement on offense was on point. There was multiple possessions where we're just passing the ball around, finding that open shot, letting Martin hit a shot, letting Gabe Vincent hit a shot. Strus hit a couple of big threes in the third quarter. Yeah, I feel like that's the key to this success, because if not, when it comes down to the crunch time, Jimmy's going to take over. And if we get this effort on game 3 on Saturday, then I don't think the Knicks stand a chance in that game, because the Heat are going to feel like, man, we really do have control of this particular series, and we can control, our own destiny, which is super weird to say because of the way that the season started and kind of went. But you see now that if our main guys are healthy, right, and I say our main guys not being our main players, but like our rotation guys that we rely on for heavy minutes, 15, 20 minutes a game, right? Like Kevin Love, he played 24. Strus plays 25 minutes. Duncan Robinson played 21 minutes. Kyle Lowry played 31 minutes. He had a rough shooting dates, right? If you're gonna give those guys the amount of minutes and they're able to give you something, then yeah, it just makes Jimmy's job a lot easier, and he's not gonna have to go out there and score 50 points, right? Because he didn't have to even score 30 points to beat the Knicks on the first game. He only ended up with 25 points that game. Let's see, man. Let's see what happens in game 3. It's going to be a huge game for the Heat, right? We got to go out there. It's going to be a sold out game for sure. I'm hoping that everybody shows up, at least on time to, how that he have that stigmata of always being late.
It's not happening. And
it's 3:30, dog.
We're there. It's not happening.
For sure. But you gotta, dog, one game, show up one game early, dog. Come on, Heat fans, get it together.
Probably midway through the second, dog.
No.
You'll see that arena full midway through the second quarter.
For sure. And it's going to be rocking. and I feel like we really do have a chance to take a hold of the series, go out there, win game 3, and, just see what happens after that. I don't feel too bad about this Heat loss. This team was terrible on the road this season, Joel, dog. We were 17-24. We were a terrible road team. And these guys have been putting up excellent road performances, not only in Milwaukee, right? and in New York, and even in the losses, right? Because even when we lost to Milwaukee, we still kind of showed up in that one game.
Yeah.
Let's see, man. Game 3 is on Saturday, like I said, 3:30 ABC, and then Monday it'll be at 7:30. We might be recording, we might not. We'll let you guys know, and we'll keep you updated, man. But this is going to be part of the post game show that we're putting up on our YouTube channel. Every game, we're going to be bringing you this post game reaction, whether it's me by myself, me with Joel, me with a guest. It's always good to get the energy out immediately after the game and kind of share it with the rest of the Heat Nation, man.
Sometimes it's pent up anger. Sometimes it's joy. You know, you're going to get a little bit of both with this Heat team.
For sure. And we're used to that by now. Man. But yeah, man, let's go Heat. They got a really good chance to get this game 3 and make some noise in the playoffs, man. Continue to make some noise.